What if the tales about aliens were true? What lurks beyond the edges of our reality? Recently, people around the world have reported chilling sightings of unknown beings and strange flying objects that defy explanation. These encounters aren't just fascinating. They're absolutely terrifying. What could these visitors want? Are they just observing, or is there a darker purpose behind their actions? Join us as we delve into hair-raising stories of close encounters with these enigmatic entities. Each tale is a thread in the spine-tingling tapestry of our universe. Number 1. Aliens seen by Zimbabwean school kids. In 1994, 60 children at a school in Zimbabwe encountered aliens. They claimed these aliens descended from a UFO and had large eyes. The story begins with reports of explosions in the sky across the region. The explosions could be seen as far away as Zambia and Botswana too. Astronomers stated that these explosions were caused by a meteor shower. There was something strange about the meteor shower, though. Many eyewitnesses say a capsule-like fireball emerged. It was trailing fire and flanked by 2 smaller capsules. Following that, numerous reports of alien sightings began to pop up. A young boy and his mother reported spotting aliens in daylight before the aliens disappeared.
It was right over our heads, practically.
A trucker also had an encounter with strange beings on the road at night. Then, on September 16th, a representative of Ariel Primary School called in. The representative insisted that her students had encountered aliens. The story states that Ariel students were playing outside. They spotted disc-shaped objects in the sky. There were 3 or 4 of these objects. The objects flew in along the power lines and finally landed in the bush area, amongst the trees. The children were afraid, but also curious. Shortly after, aliens emerged from those disc-shaped crafts. One student said that he thought at first that the little man might have been the school gardener, but then I saw that the figure had long, straight black hair. It was not really like a black person's hair. It was then that he realized the figure was not human. Another student, Guy G, describes the aliens in detail. He could see the little man, about a meter tall, was dressed in a black, shiny suit. It had long black hair and eyes which seemed lower on the cheek than our eyes. The alien's eyes were large and elongated. Its mouth was just a slit and the ears were hardly discernible. Some of the children also thought the beings were Zwitwambo or Tokoloshes, evil goblins in local African folklore. These children burst into tears, fearing they would be eaten. When the students reported their alien sighting to the teachers, they were met with disbelief. The teachers dismissed their stories and told them to keep quiet. Classes resumed as normal afterward. But the next day, the school received a bunch of calls from parents. The parents wanted to know why their kids were spooked. Eventually, the sheer number of calls started freaking the teachers out too. That's when they called a local UFO expert named Cynthia Hind to extract info from the witnesses. Hind recorded this encounter as Case 96. She described it as one of the most exciting UFO stories of this or any year. This incident can definitely not be passed off as a hoax, because all the 60 school kids gave very similar descriptions of the tiny aliens they saw with big black eyes. So if this was indeed a real encounter, why did the alien beings choose to show themselves only to the Zimbabwean school kids? Or were they planning for a mass abduction that didn't go as planned? Our next alien encounter will give you goosebumps just by hearing the story. Number 2. Couple abducted by aliens in New Hampshire. Betty and Barney Hill. They claimed they were experimented on by aliens. While the wife was not impregnated, the aliens attempted to do so. It was September 1961. Betty and Barney Hill were driving through New Hampshire's White Mountains. It was late at night. As they drove down a deserted road, a strange light in the sky seemed to follow them. When they finally got home to Portsmouth at dawn, they were far from relieved. They felt dirty. Their watches stopped working. Barney's shoes were scuffed, and Betty's dress was ripped. There were 2 hours of the drive that neither of them could remember. Barney also felt compelled to examine his body's lower half. What had happened? Neither of them could answer that question. For a year, Betty suffered from disturbing dreams, and Barney developed an ulcer due to anxiety. Deciding this was too much to cope with, the couple sought mental help. They underwent hypnosis, revealing a startling story. Gray beings with large eyes had walked them into a metallic flying disc. This disc was as wide as their house was long. Once inside, the beings examined the couple and erased their memories. The Hills were then separated, taking turns in an examination room. Each was asked to climb up on a metal table. The table was so short, Barney's legs hung over the side. The beings removed Betty and Barney's clothes, plucked strands of their hair, took clippings of their nails, and scraped their skin. Each sample was placed on a clear material similar to a glass slide. After that, the aliens probed them with long needles connected to wires. One large needle was inserted into Betty's belly, causing her some pain. She claimed this was a pregnancy test. Throughout all this, a being they called the Leader watched from the side. After Betty's examination ended, the beings rushed back into her room, excited. They had discovered that Barney's teeth could be removed. Betty laughed and explained the concept of dentures to them. The aliens seemed to have trouble understanding human aging. Fortunately for the couple, they were too old to have any children. The aliens released them after further tests. If aliens have interacted with humanity all along, why would they struggle to understand human aging? Some suggest these visitors were from a rival or newcomer faction. This is supported by all the tests they had to do to understand human bodies. But why would the aliens release these humans back on Earth knowing very well that they will share with the world that they had just met extraterrestrials? There are innumerable such testimonies where people have talked about being abducted and used as guinea pigs for scary alien experiments. One such abduction even talks about giving birth to alien hybrid babies. Number 3. Woman gives birth to 48 alien hybrid babies. 24-year-old Megan Liker married her husband. They wanted to have a child, but Megan could not get pregnant. After extensive tests, it turned out that Megan was infertile due to the deterioration of her reproductive organs. The doctor stated she had given birth many times, despite Megan having no memory of ever doing so. One doctor suggested she undergo hypnosis to bring out repressed memories. During this procedure, Liker told the doctors an incredible story that shocked them. She was walking along the alley of the city park when a UFO hovered over her. Before Liker could run, it sucked her up in a beam of light. Liker fainted and woke up in a dark room, which soon had its lights turned on. She was able to make out humanoid silhouettes. Like the creatures in Betty Hill's story, the ones who kidnapped Megan Liker were small. They had short bodies, slender arms and legs, and large heads. Liker was soon taken to a place that looked like a surgery room and examined. They later transferred her to a transparent holding cell through which she could see other women in nearby cells. 2 weeks later, her belly began to grow round, and she gave birth within a few months. As soon as the child was born, it was immediately taken away. Megan managed to catch a glimpse of her child before that. What she saw left her disgusted. According to Megan, her hybrid baby looked like a human baby, but with huge eyes. After a few days, they repeated the examination, and another pregnancy followed. The gestation times for hybrid babies were short, never exceeding 4 months. This continued for over 4 years until she became sterile from producing 48 hybrids. Megan was then returned to Earth to live out her life without realizing what had happened. Many skeptics would say that Megan must have just been hallucinating, because how is it even humanly possible to give birth to so many babies? But keeping in mind that back in the 1700s, a Russian woman named Valentina Vasilyeva gave birth to a record 69 children. Suddenly 48 doesn't seem that impossible. But why haven't other women around the world come up with such testimonies about giving birth to hybrid alien babies? Was Megan the only lucky one to have escaped from that alien prison? And if you do believe these abduction stories, does it mean that the extraterrestrials are still conducting experiments on us humans? Or maybe you have also been a victim of such an abduction, but don't have any memory of it? Or do you? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments section below. We're eager to hear what you think. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for the latest revelations in space exploration. Hit the bell icon to stay updated on all our new releases. Let's continue to explore the unknown together. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars.